What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today.
What's cracking, y'all? Are the 2010 NBA Finals underrated? Wow, I was happy I came across this video because I was actually going to do my own video about this. I'm not even lying. I saw this and I was like, well, let me just speak my sense and we'll look at this. I've always thought the 2010 NBA Finals were underrated. I don't know why people don't talk about it when they talk about great NBA Finals series. I don't know if it's just because they have a short memory span. I don't know if it's about not wanting, if it's a anti-Kobe Bryant agenda, him getting his fifth ring. I don't know. And sometimes I think, is it just because I'm a Laker guy and that's just, I'm close to the situation. I'm emotionally tied to it. So is that why I think it's underrated and should be talked about more? I am self-aware and conscious enough to question myself, but I've always thought it was underrated, man. It's one of the best final series I've seen in my lifetime. And I've been watching basketball since the mid-ish, late 90s, if you want to say. And man, that was an epic series. Obviously, Lakers, Celtics. Also, the rematch after the Celtics beat the Lakers in 2008. The Lakers wanted revenge, and Boston Celtics felt like they should have been back in the finals in 2009, but there was a Kevin Garnett injury, and the Orlando Magic ended up getting to the finals. That was an epic series. It was. This time the Lakers had home court advantage. I think it was game 2. The Lakers lost game 2 at home after Ray Allen went nuts from three-point land. After that, for the remainder of the series, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers defense shut down Ray Allen, and Kobe Bryant definitely shut Ray Allen down in Game 7. Also, there was an epic Game 4 in that series in the Garden, and Derek Fisher gives an absolutely brilliant performance, especially in that fourth quarter, hitting clutch, timely buckets, showing up like D-Fish does as a role player, and it was so emotionally charged for him. And he was crying during the postgame or holding back the tears. One of the two, but I think he shed some tears. It was just everything he went through with his family and being back in LA and getting back to this point. It was just so emotionally charged for him. That no one ever talks about that game. I spoke about that game in a previous video and showed the video footage of what Derek Fisher did in that Game 4 against Boston in the Garden. And then Game 5, the Lakers ended up losing, but Kobe Bryant caught fire. I think it might have been that third quarter. And this guy was just hitting the craziest shots, kind of like what Kobe does. And they were playing tough D, and Kobe was sizzling. That was that game where you see the cutaway to Dwayne Wade in the stands. I think he has a drink in his hand, and he's just like this. Kobe Bryant is just filthy. But they ended up losing that game. Now Lakers are down 3-2 in the series. Game 6 and Game 7 in LA. The Lakers cruise in Game 6, a great team effort, smoke them, and then the infamous Game 7. People look at the Game 7 as just a game and a point to poke at Kobe. Oh, Kobe shot bad that game. What he shot? 6 for 24? I don't got the numbers off the top of my head. I think he shot 6 for 24. But what people fail to mention is that was an epic Game 7. That was a defensive game. That you want to see how to play top level defense, both sides, both teams, that's the game to watch. They were physical, they were tough, they were gritty. There wasn't a whole lot of complaining every single play. They just kept their head up and kept running down the court. It was a display of the Ron Artest had a great game. Pau Gasol had a great game. Outside of Ron Artest and Pau Gasol, everybody else struggled shooting the basket. It wasn't just Kobe. That was a low-scoring, muck it up. Yeah, a lot of people struggled to score that game. It really was. Kobe hit the timely buckets, made the timely passes when they mattered most. At the end, Kobe Bryant, even though he wasn't scoring the ball well that game, You know, Kobe Bryant was more than just a scorer. People that don't like him don't like to mention that, or they put these false narratives out. But Kobe Bryant was a complete basketball player. Believe it or not, folks, he was. And if he wasn't scoring, he found out how to impact the games in many other ways. In this game, it was defense and rebounding. Outside of Pau Gasol's 18 rebounds, Kobe Bryant led everyone else in rebounding with 15. Pau Gasol probably had the best game. That game 7. He almost posted 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists. And it was a great story for Pau because there was a narrative of him being soft in the 2008 finals, and then him getting back to that point, and then people considering Kevin Garnett, Pau Gasol's kryptonite in that Boston Celtics front line. Pau Gasol showed up that series, showed up that game 7, and dominated. And making critical plays, critical clutch buckets in the fourth. Pau Gasol showed up. And we all know about Ron Artest. Great defense. What do you have, like 5, 6, 7 steals in that game? Hit that big 3, hit those big buckets. Listen, man, that was a epic game. And even down to the wire. See, people don't remember how it actually went down. After the Lakers went up, because the Lakers were trailing most of the game. They were trailing pretty big, especially considering the pace of play back then. You know, scoring margins were a little bit harder to overcome as opposed to how the game is played today. And those last like 2 minutes, man, they were just going back and forth. Rondo was hitting threes. Rasheed Wallace was hitting threes. Lakers were coming back answering. It was like, yo, this is crazy. That was epic. I remember where I was when the game went down. I was in the Air Force. I was on duty. I was having a heart attack. I was like, man, are we really about to lose game 7? It would have broke my heart, man. Anyway, I think that series is underrated for all those reasons I mentioned, but let's get into this video.
It's hard to say that an NBA Finals that featured Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen is underrated, but it's most definitely overlooked. Because of what happened in 2013 and 2016, 2010 seems to get lost in the mix, overshadowed by some of the greatest finals the league has ever seen during the same decade. So I think it's time we give 2010 some flowers. It brought the Lakers and Celtics' storied rivalry to a new generation. We got the Boston Big Three 2 years removed from a title against the defending champions and the best player in the world. It was also a rematch of the 2008 finals, where the Celtics beat Kobe and the Lakers in a humiliating fashion. And now, LA had their chance at revenge. The 2010 NBA Finals had all the makings of one of the greatest finals series of all time, and it absolutely delivered.
And after a 22-year absence, the Boston Celtics are NBA champions once again.
Yep, that is not a typo. The Celtics beat the Lakers in Game 6 of the 2008 NBA Finals by 39 points. It's one of the most embarrassing performances in Finals history. But funny enough, it was just the second most embarrassing performance of those finals. Flashback to Game 4 with the Celtics up 2-1 in the series. The Lakers have a 24-point lead in the second quarter, and they seem destined to tie this series.
I was going to mention this game when I was doing my rant. I always come back to this game. We let this one slip away, man.
2. Fast forward to the end of the game, and yeah, the Celtics pulled off a miracle 24-point comeback against number 24 to go up 3-1. And in Game 6, they threw the knockout punch. Boston's newly formed Big Three humiliated MVP Kobe right off the court. It was utterly embarrassing. But LA was out for vengeance the next season. They rattled off a 65-win season, cruising through to the finals where they face the Magic. Yeah, the Celtics faced some injuries in the playoffs and lost to Orlando in the second round. LA gets their title, but it wasn't exactly revenge. 2008 left a bad taste in their mouth. They wanted their get back, and in 2010, they'd get their chance.
And Andrew Bynum was back. We didn't have Bynum in 08. We didn't have Bynum in 08.
Entering the 2010 season, the Lakers had their eyes set on repeating as champions. They torched the Western Conference with a 57-win season, setting up a first-round matchup against a young Oklahoma City squad. And surprisingly, they pushed the defending champs to the limit.
6
With
games.
15 seconds left in Game 6 and the Lakers up 3-2 in the series, OKC is up 1 and just seconds away from forcing a Game 7.
Pau Gasol.
No fouls to give here. You got to double him. You cannot leave him one-on-one. Bryant for the lead. Misses. Gasol banks it in with 0.5 of a second remaining.
Game 7 was not needed. With 0.5 seconds left, Pau Gasol puts back the Kobe miss, and the Lakers win a thriller against the 8-seeded Thunder, setting up a matchup against Utah. LA walked all over the Jazz in a sweep and faced a loaded Suns team in the Western Conference Finals. And in a pivotal Game 5, they'd get some more late-game heroics.
Ron Artest.
Odom will throw in. Bryant and comes up short.
Dude, it was almost as if Phil Jackson scripted Kobe Bryant shooting from somewhere right baseline, bricking, and then having a Laker clean up the rebound. It was scripted for the whole series. It happened twice. Or for the whole playoff run.
Ron Artest beats the buzzer off Kobe's airball to get a massive Game 5 win. LA closes out the series in 6, heading back to the NBA Finals for their 3rd straight year. And they smelled blood in the water. By 2010, age was becoming a problem for the Celtics. Paul Pierce was 32, Garnett was 33, and Ray Allen was 34. They finished with 50 wins on the season and just 4th in the East. Boston was slightly off from their championship days, but they still had some magic left in the tank. In round 1, they'd blow past Miami in 5 games and face the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers led by MVP LeBron James in round 2. And in an absolute shocker, Boston beat the Cavs in 6, a series that ended up changing the course of NBA history. But at the time, we had no idea. The Celtics advanced to face the Orlando Magic in the conference finals, led by Defensive Player of the Year Dwight Howard. And in another shocker, Boston gets by the Magic in 6. Entering the playoffs, not a soul thought the 4th-seeded Celtics would make it this far. They went through an absolute gauntlet in the East, and now they gotta face a team that is foaming at the mouth for the rematch. A rematch that seemed destined to happen. Headed into the series, there was still some bad blood left over from 2008, and the tone for these finals was set just 27 seconds into Game 1. Paul Pierce and Ron Artest lock arms and wrestled each other to the floor. Both guys got a technical foul, and the stage was set. The game was relatively close until the 3rd quarter. LA began to pull away, and in the midst of a Laker run, Kobe gets a highlight reel block on Tony Allen and throws down the lob at the other end. The Mamba stuck the Celtics with a 30-piece, and Gasol tagged on 23 and 14. The Lakers get one step closer to revenge and win Game 1. Ray Allen put on a show in Game 2. He exploded for 32 points and an NBA record 8 3-pointers, going 7 for 7 from deep in just the first half. But Kobe had a response. He steals the ball and beats the buzzer with a long-range missile to cut the lead to 6 headed into halftime. And it gave LA some energy. They dominated the 3rd quarter and found themselves up 1 with 3 minutes remaining in the 4th. And then the Celtics caught fire. They go on a 9-0 run in the final 3 minutes and steal Game 2 on the road behind Ray Allen's hot hand and Rajon Rondo's triple-double.
Forgot Rondo had a triple-double.
Is tied at 1. In Game 3, Ray Allen followed up his unreal performance with the stinker of the century. 2 points on 0 for 13 from the field and 0 for 8 from 3. The dude was building a house with all those bricks. But somehow, it was still a close game. Boston was down just 6 entering the 4th quarter, and then Derek Fisher decided to take over. Out of nowhere, he goes off for 11.
Alright, my bad. I thought the Derek Fisher game was Game 4. The Derek Fisher game was Game 3. My mistake. It's a lot of basketball history in my head. I apologize.
In the quarter, including a ridiculous dagger for a dude who's 6'1".
And again, for 13 from the field.
Same type of makes he had.
Fisher gets hammered and he puts it in. Derek Fisher hard to the back.
Fisher's unreal coast-to-coast and one over a trio of Celtic defenders sealed the game for LA, and they go up 2-1. Up to this point in the series, the 2008 Finals MVP hadn't made much of an impact. He was averaging just 16 on terrible efficiency, and Kevin Garnett's been just okay at 15 a game. But if the Celtics wanted to get back in this series, they'd need some help, which is exactly what they got in Game 4. Boston had 6 different players score in double digits, including 18 from Big Baby Davis and 12 from Nate Robinson. The Lakers...
I forgot to mention that. The notorious Nate Robinson, Glenn Baby Robinson. Wait. Hold on. Nate Robinson and Glenn Big Baby Davis. With the drool coming out of his mouth, that was getting talked about for days.
The Lakers did keep it close, but the others closed it out late for the Celtics, and they tie the series at 2. Game 5 was the most decisive game of the series, and the big boys showed up. The Truth finally makes his mark on these finals with a 27-point explosion, including 15 of those in the first half. But unfortunately, it would be overshadowed by this man, because in the third quarter, the Black Mamba went nuts.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Point shootout All-Star weekend. It's a big one there. Kobe Bryant. Oh, what a tough shot. Perkins good help defense there. Bryant again. Bryant one dribble. Alley-oop to Bryant. Oh, what a play from Bryant. Bryant from way downtown. Bang! Kobe Bryant again. 17 points in the period.
Kobe put on a shooting clinic with a 19-point third quarter that was filled with long-range threes, heavily contested fadeaways, and a lob. Dwayne Wade couldn't believe what was going on. Kobe finished the game with 38, 5 and 4, but his heroics weren't enough. The Celtics held on to the lead the entire second half and came away with a pivotal Game 5 win. Boston is headed back to LA with a shot at another title against the purple and gold. Game 6 was our first major blowout of the series, and it was pure domination from the Lakers. Pau Gasol had his best game of the finals with 17, 13, and 9, while Kobe went off for 26, 11, and 4 steals in a 22-point win. However, one of the major storylines from this game was Boston's starting center Kendrick Perkins. While battling for a rebound in the first quarter, Perk tore 2 ligaments in his right knee and he'd miss Game 7. A big loss for the Celtics, but they'd have to make do. LA blows them out and we get a do-or-die Game 7. It was destiny for this series to get to a Game 7. It's green versus purple and gold, the greatest rivalry in the sport's history, facing off against each other in their 5th Game 7. Regardless of the era that you're from, this game meant something to you. It was pure magic. The beginning of the game, however, wasn't so magical. Call it great defense, poor offense, or just nerves, but scoring was the hardest thing to come by in the first half. Highlighted by Kevin Garnett flying into the stands for a loose ball with 8 minutes left in the second quarter where the score is 23-23. It was a grind. Boston ended the half up 6, and you'd be surprised to hear that it was only 6, considering Kobe and Gasol were having a monumental struggle. Kobe had just 8 points on 3 of 14 shooting, and Pau had just 6 on 3 of 12. Thankfully, their savior Ron Artest was carrying the load. The third quarter was more the same. Bodies were flying on the floor, guys were battling for every inch on the court. It was an absolute war. The Celtics would get a short-lived 13-point lead before LA responded and got themselves back in the game as they headed into the final 12 minutes down 4. And in the fourth quarter, the floodgates opened. With 6 minutes to go, Derek Fisher throws up a sky-scraping 3 that splashes down to tie the game at 64. And then, Kobe gets going. He knocks down a couple free throws to give the Lakers their first lead of the second half, following it up with a mid-range jumper, and the crowd explodes. Although he caught fire for a moment, Kobe was in a funk the entire game. He'd finished with 23 and 15 on an iconic 6 of 24 from the field. But when it mattered, he was showing up. With 3 minutes left, Garnett throws down a hammer dunk all over Gasol, to which he responds with a ridiculous fading jumper over a Celtic triple team, putting LA up 6 with a minute and a half to go.
So about that ridiculous fadeaway jumper, nobody mentions this. I don't even know how many people know this. That was actually a travel. If you look at his feet and slow it down, his tippy toes touch the ground before the ball is released. But,
And it only got crazier. Rasheed Wallace answers with a 3 to make it a one-possession game. But the Lakers' savior comes through.
Bryant looking. Artest, that's a 3.
You pass me the ball. Kobe, pass me the ball.
Artest knocks down the clutchest shot of his career with just over a minute to go to push the lead back to 6.
This was a great redemption story for Ron Artest as well after the malice at the Palace.
But this game was nowhere near over. Ray Allen comes back down and nails a corner 3 to cut the lead in half. Kobe gets fouled, goes to the line and makes 2 free throws to make it a 5-point lead with 25 seconds left. And the Celtics answer once again. Off an offensive rebound, Rondo hits a triple to make it a 2-point game. And on the inbound, he comes just inches away from stealing the ball away from Kobe. This is easily the most overlooked moment of these finals. Kobe would have been crucified for turning this ball over and choking away the possibility of back-to-back titles. The Celtics would have gotten the chance to tie and force overtime or win and capture their second championship in just 3.
I never thought about that. I remember that, but he's absolutely right. Bro, Kobe would have got crucified, bro.
Years. NBA history would have been flipped upside down had that ball bounced just a few more inches in the other direction. But instead, LA gets the ball back, they make their free throws, and get revenge.
Throw it down. Kobe grabs it, throws his hand up.
Just got one more to Shaq. So you can take that to the bank.
Said if you're all about a pretty game and numbers and analytics and box scores, you're probably not going to like that product what that Game 7 offered. But listen, that was a war. That was a battlefield out there. Everybody wanted that. Everybody did. Hell of a series. Hell of a Game 7. Big moments throughout the series. Definitely overshadowed. I do believe so. And there were also some little cool storyline bits that weren't mentioned. Like they did mention KP, the injury, but they didn't mention Andrew Bynum not being around in 08. And then Pau Gasol's comments about Kevin Garnett. He basically said like KG didn't seem like the same Kevin Garnett from 2008. And that stirred up some controversy. Then some people were saying that Phil Jackson told Powell to say that, Phil likes to play mind games to get into KG's head. I felt like that. They mentioned it was a 13-point deficit in Game 7. I guess I always felt like it was more than that, and it probably felt heavier than that to me just because I'm a Lakers fan. It's Game 7. We're down 13 on our home floor in the NBA Finals. It probably felt heavier to me, but still, like I said, considering the pace of play and how the NBA was back then, and the scoring 13 is like equivalent to like 20 something points in today's NBA as far as the deficit goes. I'm just saying that part remains true. I will never forget this series, man. That's all I gotta say about it, folks. Check out our Kobe Bryant playlist. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. Appreciate you for stepping in. Catch you on the next one. We out, baby.